Harry Potter fans, welcome back to the channel, and we have some big news today on the Harry Potter TV show. We've got quotes from J.K. Rowling, official announcements, and a change in direction as well. I want to break all of those down here today in this video. And first, let's start with the absolute biggest announcement by far. And that is the fact that we now have official confirmation, as you can see here, directly from the Max account, all aboard the Hogwarts Express, Francesca Gardner and Mark Malad, let me know in the comments, guys, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, will executive produce the new HBO original series, Harry Potter, with Gardner serving as showrunner and Malad directing multiple episodes, coming soon to Max. I mean, I don't think it's coming that soon, but more on that here in a second. So I think this is great news. If you guys remember from our past videos that we've covered this, we talked a lot about Francesca Gardner and dove into her background, and she was my personal pick among all the candidates. Now, I would say the next big chunk of information came directly from J.K. Rowling. She says, "I'm truly thrilled to announce our director and writer, both of whom I interviewed as part of the production team." So we knew that. We talked about that previously. Both have a genuine passion for Harry Potter. That's very good. Obviously important for something like this. And then here's the big part, though. Having read Francesca's pilot script and heard Mark's vision, I'm certain the TV show will more than live up to expectation. So she has already read the pilot script, which is great news. I'm not sure how it normally works in TV production, like if before they even hire the showrunner, they have them write out the full script, or maybe she was hired a while back and just finished up the script. But the fact that J.K. Rowling has already seen it and seemingly approved of it is really good news. Now, I think the best announcement article on this is the one that JKR linked to there. It's one from The Hollywood Reporter, and it has a few interesting nuggets here. The first being a little bit more information about Mark. So you can see that both are Emmy Award winners for HBO's Succession. We knew that about Francesca. Mark, I think this is the first time his name has ever been mentioned as being part of the project, so they kind of kept him under wraps as far as Harry Potter goes. But he also worked on Succession. I haven't personally seen Succession, but by all accounts, I mean, Emmy Award-winning show, won a lot of awards. A lot of people enjoy the show. But even more so than that, the fact that they already have this established relationship, which is going to be very important, I think, for really doing this right. Now, Gardner, of course, we've talked about in the past, experience working on His Dark Materials, but Malad here has directed several episodes of Game of Thrones. I'm going to show those specifically to you here in just a moment. And then also he's apparently working on the second season for The Last of Us. So Last of Us, my favorite game ever made. The show, pretty good as well. Now, he also directed the feature film The Menu, which I haven't seen, but some of you on Twitter were telling me that that was pretty good. Also stars Mr. Voldemort himself. I don't think he actually goes by Voldemort, but you know what I mean. Now, we'll scroll down a bit here to this next paragraph, which is where I think another bit of interesting information is, and it's this line here. The Potter series was originally slated for Max, where it had been in development since 2021. Now, if you go back to when WB Discovery announced this whole shift to Max, Harry Potter was actually the standout announcement. That's what they closed the show with and talked about how it was going to be a Max original. And I'll be honest, I was a little unclear with the branding on this because if you remember, HBO Max used to be a standalone product. Like that's where you could stream and watch HBO original shows like Game of Thrones, for example. Then they changed the branding over to Max, which I didn't particularly love that move because HBO Max already had such a strong brand recognition, right, in the industry. But anyway, I think people have slowly started to come on board with that, with it being called Max now. But then I don't think I ever really fully understood that it wasn't going to be on HBO. It was only going to be on Max. Now, though, that is all out of the window, and they explain it more here. So as part of a strategy and branding shift for the streamer and its Warner Brothers Discovery sibling HBO, however, the series, and then we're going to skip this bit here, will become HBO Originals, meaning that they'll air on the cable channel as well as stream on Max. So, I mean, bigger audience, I think this is definitely a good sign. And then we have a direct quote here from HBO that they've provided to The Hollywood Reporter. Quote, "The series will feature a new cast to lead a new generation of fandom full of the fantastic detail and much-loved characters Harry Potter fans have loved for over 25 years, close quote. Then, of course, the next big question that people are going to have is casting. Well, they also touch on that and say that casting will be announced later. But I think part of the great thing about this announcement is the fact that we can now start to anticipate those casting announcements. That could never happen before they had the showrunner in place. Now we've got our showrunner in place. let's move forward. I think we're looking for a big year in terms of announcements as far as the Harry Potter TV show goes. Also, the fact that we're getting this announcement midway through 2024 here, I think that still puts them relatively on target for a 2026 debut. We'll have to see how soon we start finding out about things like casting and when they start shooting. But again, JKR already mentioned that the pilot has been written, so that's a great sign. And then lastly, they close out the article here saying Gardner and Malad will executive produce the series along with Rowling and her Bronte film and TV partners Neil Blair and Ruth Kinley-Letts and David Heyman. Of course, David Heyman, a name that all Harry Potter fans should know, as he was producer on, I'm pretty sure, all of the films as well as the Fantastic Beasts film, so he's been around for a while, definitely understands the franchise. Now, for a little bit more detail on this shift from Max to HBO, we go to Deadline here. So this was June 25th. It was actually just yesterday. I was thinking that it was a few days ago, but things have been happening so fast, I totally forgot it was yesterday. So Warner Brothers Discovery is changing its strategy when it comes to big budget series and titles such as the upcoming Harry Potter series and It prequel Welcome to Derry will no longer be Max originals, but will instead be HBO originals, which again, we just talked about why I think that's a good sign. So this is also important right here. They will air on Max day and date with their linear debut. So that means whether you're cable on HBO, whether you have Max and you're streaming, you're going to be able to watch these at the exact same time. Now, Deadline also has an article up on the announcement. I think the Hollywood Reporter one has a bit more information, but this one did point out that Gardner beat out Tom Moran and Kathleen Jordan to win the gig. So Deadline has been on top of this for a while. A lot of the articles that we've talked about in the past on this channel, all the writers that were rumored to be in the running, a lot of that came from Deadline. So it'll be interesting to keep a note on them and see if they have any more information as we go forward. Now, this is Mark, and I really wanted to take a deeper look at his IMDb page to see what else he's worked on. Of course, we've talked about Succession already. 37 episodes. He was the producer on Succession. Actually, I think he was the executive producer on most all of these. Let's just scroll through here real quickly, because you'll also see some specific ones where if we just get rid of the producer right there, get rid of additional crew, I want to see specifically things that he's directed. So while he's been part of 37 episodes of Succession, he was the director for 16 episodes, at least credited right here. So he was with Succession seasons 1 through 4, a long-standing member there of the production team. Now, he's also worked on Game of Thrones. He directed 6 episodes of the show, and here are the specific ones. Season 5, Episode 3, High Sparrow. Season 5, Episode 4, Sons of the Harpy. Man, it's been so long since I've seen Game of Thrones, but I'm pretty sure that Sons of the Harpy episode, isn't that where we first get a really kind of epic moment with Drogon? I think that might be the episode. I'm going to have to go back and check. But he also directed The Broken Man, Season 6, Episode 7, and then No One, Season 6, Episode 8. That definitely a standout episode. And then in Season 7, he directed Episodes 2 and 3, Stormborn and The Queen's Justice. So again, it's been a long time since I've seen the episodes of Game of Thrones. I remember some people loved better than others. But for those of you who are into TV and film and kind of understand how those things work, it might be interesting now that we have this information to go back and watch some of those specific episodes. And we did already talk on this channel about a podcast episode that she did with, this is Ramita Anand, and it's the Elevate podcast. So if you want to go back and listen to this podcast, because it's all about her experience as a female writer and screenwriting, it was from February 2023 when you can go back and find that podcast. So I'll make sure to link that down in the video description below if you want to jump and check that out. Now, I also found this article from the LA Times. This isn't specifically about the Harry Potter project, but it gives you a little bit more information about Mark and kind of his background, trying to understand him a little bit better. And I love this quote right here. He said, quote, "When I get involved with a show, I find it very difficult to leave if I feel a connection to the writing and to the characters, leading to a personal connection with the writers and the cast." Close quote. Now, of course, we already know J.K. Rowling talked about how that they're very passionate about the Harry Potter series, which is, of course, a must for something like this, but also the fact that he likes to stick around. Now, I don't know if he will stick around for 10 years, which is what they're saying for this, but I do think when you can have some of that continuity, it can really go a long way. So it'll be interesting to see how long he sticks around. I can't imagine that he'll stay throughout the whole time, But who knows? We already have this quote here saying that he definitely appreciates that continuity when he really cares about the world and finds that connection with the writers. And we already know he has the established relationship with Gardner, which is all a good sign. Another quote from that article that I highlighted here: I'm totally focused on the directing, but I'm also just by nature thinking about the bigger picture, the arc of the characters, the arc of the story, the tone of the show, how that will fit in with 2 seasons ago or 2 seasons ahead, he says. The relationship with the showrunner becomes incredibly important for me, that I can support and hopefully augment their voice. So again, that's huge that they already have this established relationship. So I wonder if when she went in, if she actually pitched him or knew that he would be interested, maybe she talked to him beforehand. You never know how all those things line up exactly. But again, I think that the fact that they already have that established relationship is nothing but a good sign. Now, if you want to know more about Francesca and why I was really hoping that she would be the pick, then check out the video on the right side of your screen now where we already break that down. Thank you so much to our channel members, including our Tier 3 Phoenix members, The Flash, Noah, Martin, Savage Khaleesi, and Dylan. You guys make this all possible. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.